guys. Keep your hands together for Andy Wright, everybody. Andy Wright.
One more hand for yourselves, everybody. You guys showed up and it's awesome. You guys are all here. Jan and Mary, Peter hosting a great show. Awesome. Yes. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years, which I know is a weird, yeah, thank you. I know that's a weird thing to hear from a guy who looks like he is divorced, but also a virgin. And so I love my girlfriend, she's great. And one of the best things about having a girlfriend is now people don't give me like unsolicited dating advice anymore, because people used to do that to me all the time, right? Like there was this phrase that I always used to hear before I started dating my girlfriend, where they would say to me like, hey, if you want girls to like you, you gotta treat women like cats. That's what they would say, treat women like cats. And now that is terrible dating advice for me, because I love cats way too much for that to be applicable, okay? So when somebody says to me, hey, you gotta treat women like cats, I'm like, oh, you mean follow them around the room wherever they go and then keep holding on to them even when they get kind of squirmy? Yeah, that's a good idea. I think women like that. Treat women like cats. Oh, let them sleep in your bed even though you're allergic to them, but your parents do own 3, so you gotta kind of make it work, right? All right. Yeah. I love living in New York. I've lived here for about 3 years, and I love seeing crazy people on the train. I'll tell you guys about the best crazy person I ever saw on the train. I was on the L train a couple years ago, and there was this dude, it was packed L train, rush hour, and this guy was just yelling at anybody who would listen and telling him about dead celebrities. And so he was just like, Steve Jobs is dead, Jimi Hendrix is dead. Why y'all trying, Brooklyn? You gotta give up on your dreams. The best ones, they're already dead. You should give up. And he was just going on like forever, like for 20 minutes, and eventually he was just like, Bob Dylan is dead. No, he's not, but I'm not gonna like step on your toes, all right? And he went on like this for so long, and then he said the greatest thing I've ever heard a crazy person say after ranting for 20 minutes. He went, all right, I'm gonna take my nap now, but y'all better think about what I said. And I was like, damn, that is a fucking dismount, dude. That is like the closest thing you're ever gonna get to hearing a lunatic essentially go, and scene. I thought that was fantastic. That guy's awesome. The other thing I love about living in New York is you get to see celebrities just walking around on the street. I love that. Anybody shout out like the best celebrity that you've ever seen? Anybody can do that? Awesome. Very good. Very good. I'm gonna try to beat it, okay? I'm gonna try to beat it. A couple months ago, I was walking in the West Village with my girlfriend, and who should we see walking down the street in front of us but Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, yeah. That guy's like the Mewtwo of people, okay? Like, you do not expect to see him, but then once you do, you think you're gonna get like experience points or something just for seeing Daniel Day-Lewis on the street. And he was walking with his son. I know this because I looked it up on Google immediately, but he was walking with his own son, like his biological son. And my girlfriend and I, we started talking about it because we were so taken aback that we saw Daniel Day-Lewis just walking out in the wild, and my girlfriend was like, man, having a guy like Daniel Day-Lewis is probably a very weird experience, because he's this like volatile, he's like this dramatic actor, this method actor. He goes in and out of all of these very intense roles. He must be like a very intense guy to be around. He must be kind of like a bad father or something. And I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, no, I think Daniel Day-Lewis probably isn't, because you know, he's such a good actor that he probably knows how to at least pretend how to be a good father, right? Like, he probably knows how to at least bring it around full circle, you know? I think that sometimes people can be so crazy that they actually come around to be a normal person, you know? Like, I was reading this article a couple months ago in this scientific medical journal, Vice.com, about, it was about sociopaths. It was about these people who self-identified as sociopaths, and they wanted to ask them about their life. And so they were talking to Vice, and everybody, all these sociopaths in this article were very, very smug and assured about their ability to manipulate people, you know? And so they were like, yeah, well, you know, we're sociopaths, and so we know how people think, we know what people want to hear, and so if we want somebody to do something for us, we just tell them what they want to hear, and then they do it. I was like, yeah, that's just called being nice. There is nothing insidious about that at all. You say something to somebody and they do something for you, that's called being nice. Like, these people think that they're masters of manipulation, but all they're doing throughout their day is they're like, yeah, I complimented Sharon's blouse and then she helped me with my spreadsheet, just as I planned. Like, there is nothing remotely insidious about that at all. I was a pretty middling student in school because doing homework got in the way of watching 5 hours of Everybody Loves Raymond every night for me, and it was not a good show, but oh, it was on, baby, and no show was on as much as that show was, and so. I only plagiarized something once, though. When I was 12 years old in the 6th grade, I had to write a mystery story. And so instead of just writing a mystery story, I plagiarized an episode of Monk. And so I ripped off an episode of Monk entirely, okay? And I turned this into my teacher, and then I had to read the story in front of my class. And so everybody in my class heard it, my teacher heard it aloud. I learned a couple things that day. First thing I learned is that my English teacher, when I was 12 years old, had never seen an episode of Monk because she gave me an A+ and she wrote good story on the top of my paper. And I was like, yeah, I think it was like Emmy nominated or something. I think it was pretty good. You got good taste. The other thing that I learned, though, is that like 8 kids in my class had seen that same episode of Monk, and they let me know it. As soon as I sat down after I had read that story aloud, 8 12-year-olds were like, you plagiarized, you ripped off an episode of Monk, you should get an F. I was like, okay, I know that what I did was cheating. I know that what I did was bad. But more importantly, how are we not all best friends when apparently we all go home and watch Monk every night, even though we're fucking 12 years old? We're 12 years old, as soon as we get home, we're like, oh, where's my Tony Shalhoub dramedy about the neurotic Jewish detective? That's my favorite show. And we're not all going to each other's birthday parties? I don't think that that's right. All right. Anyway, that's been it for me. Thank you very much. I'm Andy Wright. I wore a sweater here.